Knicks family, what's poppin' with you? I'm glad you're here with me tonight. And we're going to do an episode of Knicks Weekly exclusively on Sportscaster. And of course, like usual, we're going to do a portion of the show on YouTube. Then I'm going to ask you to switch over to Sportscaster, ladies and gentlemen. All right? The link to Sportscaster, is in the description of this video. And I'm also about to put it here in the YouTube chat so that when I log off of here, you can jump right over to Sportscaster and catch the show in action. Got a few things to talk about tonight. A rare night nowadays where there's actually news about the New York Knicks. All right? Actually news about the Knicks. We're going to talk about the Knicks stargazing once again. We're going to talk about that. And I'm going to give you that on YouTube because I know that's a conversation starter. So I'm going to give you that on YouTube. And then I'm going to log off and we're going to talk about the Knicks making some front office news and some updates on RJ Barrett and those type of things, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get this thing popping. I got my man Nate in the chat. And I'm going to get Nate on the show right now so we can talk and, we're going to get things moving. Nate, what's popping with you, my brother? How you feeling?
Good, man. How you doing?
Not bad myself, man. I can't complain. Can't complain at all. Can't complain at all, man.
Every day is a blessing.
That's right. That's right. No doubt about it. Look, we finally got a little bit of news to chew our teeth into when it comes to the New York Knicks. Obviously, there hasn't been a lot given this whole coronavirus pandemic, but there's some news to talk about now. All right, we got some front office stuff to talk about. We're going to get to that. But before we get to that, well, I guess this kind of goes into the front office. Obviously, it goes into the front office. And I got text last night or this morning, whenever it was, to say, man, I don't like the way that this sounds. Talking about the Knicks. But the Knicks believe that they are in position to get a star. That's what they believe. Right? And so this right here brings everybody's fear to fruition, or whatever word you want to use. Everybody was scared that Leon Rose was going to come in. He's going to start stargazing. Instead of trying to build from the bottom up, he's going to begin to stargaze and look for a star and try to get a star. This is the article, and this article it's by the one and only Ian Begley. It's on SNY TV, SNY.TV. And it's why the Knicks feel they are incredibly well positioned to trade for an NBA star. Right? And one front office member said this. We don't know who the front office member is, but they said this. It's the best path for us. There you go. It's the best path. They believe it's the best path for the Knicks. Somebody does. All right. So here, I'm going to read the article to you. There's about a week before the 2020 trade deadline, some within the Knicks organization were optimistic that they had the framework of a package in place that would land D'Angelo Russell from Golden State. Any momentum in the talks with Golden State stalled when then President Steve Mills was removed from his position. But the Knicks' pursuit of Russell didn't end when Mills was reassigned. So look, everybody thought that it was Mills who was aggressively going after D'Angelo Russell, which it was, but it didn't stop when he was gone. It continued. So it wasn't just Mills. There's other people in the front office that thought it was a good idea. All right, like they say, the Knicks remained engaged with Golden State on Russell up through the deadline, even after reports of Leon Rose's hire surfaced. Obviously, we know that the Knicks didn't get Russell. Okay. Russell was dealt to Minnesota. But for what it's worth, one package that was out there that Mills had shot out there included Bobby Portis, Alonzo Trier, and Frank Ntilikina for Rose. I don't know, and who knows what kind of draft picks would have been included or anything like that. Obviously, the only moves that the Knicks made at the deadline was for Marcus Morris, right? They traded Marcus Morris. They brought back Mo Harkless in a 2020 first-round draft pick and a 2021 second-round pick. Okay? The trade leaves the Knicks with 7 first-round picks in the next 4 drafts. Then they have a young core of R.J. Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, Kevin Knox, Ntilikina, right? And they have significant cap flexibility. So because of all of that, there's people within the Knicks organization that feel they are incredibly well positioned to trade for a disgruntled star if one becomes available. Who might that be? We do not know. A lot of signs in rumors. Let me say rumors, not signs. A lot of rumors point to Joel Embiid, right? Because of his relationship with the 76ers right now. All right, so there's a lot of stuff that points to Joel Embiid. Okay, and then obviously you heard the rumors about Donovan Mitchell. And I'm sure there'll be other names that leak out there as time goes on. Okay? Things are going to leak out there. So, who knows, man? The feeling among many in the organization is that the Knicks have so many picks, again, 7 in the next 4 drafts, that they can afford to send 1 or 2 out in a trade if it nets a star. Okay, it seems like, and this is according to Ian Begley, this is what Ian Begley feels, I guess. He says it seems like part of jumpstarting the Knicks' short-term growth includes being aggressive and trading for stars when the opportunity presents itself. So, here we go. Nate, talk to me, man. How you feel about it?
Well, my question would be, in your definition, what defines a star? Is it a franchise player? Is it a game changer? Is it a transcendent player? What do you define as a star?
It's hard to say nowadays what a star is. A lot of people can be determined a star. I think there's a star, then there's a superstar, then there's someone who's transcendent, right? So someone like Jimmy Butler is a star. Okay? You got your superstars. Who are your superstars in the league right now? Like Russell Westbrook is a superstar.
Are you defining wins? Are you defining skill? Or there's a lot of categories.
There's a lot of categories, right? But you got your people like Damian Lillard. He's a star, right?
Yeah, I'll give you that.
He's a star.
Lillard could be a superstar.
Russell Westbrook. Damian Lillard's a superstar. Russell Westbrook's probably a superstar. James Harden. James Harden might be transcendent. I don't know. I don't know if he's a superstar or if he's transcendent. Obviously, Giannis is transcendent. Anthony Davis is transcendent.
LeBron is transcendent.
Right? LeBron, at this point of his career, he's not. But obviously, when he was younger, he was transcendent. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, and transcendent is like people that are they're going to transform your organization. Stars aren't going to transform your organization. Superstars might transform your organization, or they might help. Mm-hmm. But those transcendent players, they're going to transform your organization. Okay? How many transcendent players are there in the NBA? And are we getting one? Probably not.
No.
Right? You're probably not getting those transcendent players. They're hard to come by. They only, you only get them a few. They only come a couple per generation or something. Everybody else has to try to. What'd you say?
I said, and they don't get let go. They don't get traded. They stick with their team.
So there's only a few. So you got your star players. They make the playoffs every year. Your superstars have, they make the playoffs every year, but they have this star power to them, right? They have this marketability to them that's going to draw people to your. Draw people to the arena. People are going to go out and buy jerseys and sneakers and shirts and things like that, right? So those guys are superstars. So they're stars, but they're superstars. They're a little bit better than your stars, but they also have this marketability about them that just brings this energy to your franchise. And then your transcendent players, you know, they have it all. They make the playoffs every year. You know, they got the star power, you know, the marketability, and they can transform your franchise. So, you know, it's I don't know, man. I don't know. I get it. I understand. And I'm hoping that if they're looking at trading for a star, they're going to be smart. They're not just going to throw their money at any big name that comes by.
So you know what I thought when I saw this this title. Did you watch The Last Dance, the part 1 and 2?
Yes, I did.
Fantastic. I learned a lot about Jordan and the history behind it that I didn't even know. So I encourage anybody to watch it if they haven't watched it. It's going to be good. They did a really good job with this. So when I watched it, they did a cursor about the Bulls before Jordan, right, and how bad the Bulls were. They had no people going to the stands. They had nothing really. They were the third best team in the city. So I think that like the Knicks are kind of that way right now. Now popularity, the Knicks are the most popular in New York, no doubt. But just the fact is how bad the Knicks are right now. It kind of made me think of the Bulls. So what did the Bulls do? They drafted Michael Jordan. Now, they didn't know how good Michael Jordan was going to be. They just saw him from the tapes and all that. Now, they got lucky. They drafted a guy who is transcendent, who turned that team around just by himself in the beginning. The Knicks I don't think they're going to have that opportunity to draft somebody that's transcendent like that. I don't think anybody in the draft is ever going to be, not for a while.
You're probably right, but you heard what you just said about Jordan?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know. I mean, of course they knew he was good, and they knew he was the best player in the country. They didn't know he was going to be Jordan, like the Jordan that we know Jordan. You know what I'm saying? So you never know, but I understand what you're saying.
So the point what I'm trying to say is that the fact is that more likely they're not going to find it in the draft. Let's just be honest. They're probably not going to find the draft. You're going to have to trade for somebody. Now, the problem is, like we talked about, there's transcendent, there's superstars, there's stars. The only people I see out there right now, if you're talking Donovan Mitchell, if you're talking Embiid, I would say, star, Mitchell, Embiid, superstar. Are those guys really going to take your team to the next level? Probably not. If
you put together multiple players, right? So I think this is what you have to do. You can't expect that you're going to get a star and you still got RJ Barrett and Mitchell Robinson, hopefully, right? And you put those guys together and whoever your draft pick is coming in, and then all of a sudden, bam, you skyrocket to the top. That's not going to happen. Right. The idea would be, you get a star and you have some of these young guys around the star, and now you're starting to bud. You're budding, right? And players are getting better, and then you make a move maybe for the guy that puts you over the top. I think it has to be something like that. Because you're right. It's going to be, first of all, those transcendent players don't come around very often. Right? And most teams that get them, they get lucky when they get them. You're right. They get lucky when they get them because nobody knows. Right? They get lucky when they get them.
The Knicks have not been lucky. Let's be honest. They have not.
Yeah. Everyone else is trying to put people together. Or if they don't get lucky, they either trade for them or they sign them in free agency. And right now, the Knicks aren't in position. We don't think they're in position to trade for them. We don't know what kind of effect that Leon Rose is having on the Knicks' perception around the league, though. I will say that. We can talk about everything in the news, this and that and the other thing, but we don't know the impact that he has with other players or with players around the league, because he just may have an impact with some of the players around the league.
And here's a point I want to make too. You mentioned free agency. Listen, Giannis and Anthony Davis are going to be free agents. Now, whether they're going to sign with their teams, who knows? Whether they're going to team up with somebody else, who knows? But I think if the Knicks can keep their core and build upon their core, they might have a chance to maybe at least have a sit down with two of these guys. And you're talking about two transcendent players that I would love to get my hands on. I'd love to get my hands on Davis, or I'd love to get my hands on Giannis.
Okay. The only thing I'll
if you
say,
can get one of those dudes.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say is that maybe Leon Rose, the respect for Leon Rose, gets the Knicks a sit down, but then they still got to have the infrastructure in place. And players aren't coming here if they don't have the infrastructure in place. You know, that's the way I feel
Absolutely,
about
100% true on that. 100%.
You know, they got to have the infrastructure in place. Mark, Freezy, Gammo, what's popping, man? Mark, talk to me, man. How you feel about the reports coming out that the Knicks feel that they are in good position to land a superstar? They didn't say when. They're not saying this summer or next summer. They just said Ian Begley that they feel like they're in good position. They've positioned themselves well to land a star player.
I would say just for the fact that we have a boatload of just like unusual assets and picks, especially this year and potential next year, that can entice a team to say, okay, Knicks have two, lottery picks. And because they're not a winning team, it would have some impact on the next organization if we was to trade for any disgruntled star. So that would be one. Two, I think this dude, Leon Rose, I think he has some staying power with some of his, let's say, people who he used to
man, ain't nobody coming here.
I would say, in case, and I would just say time will tell.
Man, what are we even talking about, man?
Hold up, guys. You guys are live. You guys are live.
It must be April.
I would just say time will tell. I won't say this year. I would say around like 2021 things could get interesting for us. But I won't say now and next year. 2021. No, 2021, I believe something will just come up. Depending on how things go next year with basketball and stuff like that. But I just think we're in line because of, the young players that we have. And you got to understand, not just teams is always going to take a whiff on young players. And, we have decent young players, that teams would just take a whiff at, especially if it's coming with, lottery picks and they're trying to get their disgruntled stars. So it's just like, it could be a win-win situation, because if we feel like our young guys aren't up to par before we have to pay them, us, distributed them to get a disgruntled star that I feel that we can put in place. We can put in place just because, we're New York. If things are going right in the front office, number one, things can happen. I think with Leon Rose, if he puts the right people together and it's running seamlessly with no issues and no type of extra read all about it. You know what I mean? So,
right. So you think that so you do think that Leon Rose could really have a positive effect in at least getting the Knicks at the doorstep.
Yeah, because of his personality, I think he's a guy that you can go and players will run and talk to. Because if you just look at the landscape of all these stars and teams that they're running to, just look at Brooklyn for instance, Simeon. If Durant would have landed in New York, he would be in the news just off of nothing, period. And one thing Brooklyn is doing for those two, they are being protected in the media by them. They are being protected to an extent where they don't have to speak one iota. Kevin Durant hasn't spoken out in media since he left Golden State. Just sit down and think about it. Ooh. And that's what some of these stars want. Some of these stars just want to go out there and play basketball and don't want to have to deal with that. I think it's to a case, if Leon Rose could get some of these stars in New York and protect them to a certain extent, I think that he'll be able to sit down. But not the fact that, again, salary cap and paying players ain't an issue. And getting players to come here, unless you get an established star that say, okay, I think Leon Rose is our guy, the star would tell other players, come along. And just salary cap wouldn't be, and going over the salary cap would not be an issue. So if instance, just say if Giannis and Anthony Davis say, you know what, let's team up, and then we get other players to surround them. If we get at least 2 or even one of those type of players, that will give the instincts to other players like, yo, everything's going smoothly here, and I trust Leon Rose to run it correctly. And who they hired today, I think that was a good move by Leon Rose from a cap wise.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about that in a little bit.
Okay.
Let me get around, get to some other guys, and see what they think real quick, and then we'll get moving. Guillermo, I'm gonna come to you. Let's test out that mic. How you feeling, man?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. Sounds good, man.
All right. No offense, Mark. That was a whole lot of nothing, bro. Again, Knicks fans, we don't learn our damn lessons, man. We don't learn our lessons, man. No one wants to come to the Knicks because of Leon Rose, right? You know what happens? Like, it's not like Leon Rose is the godfather that if you don't sign with the Knicks, you and your family are going to end up dead. They'll just go and pick another agent or another person unaffiliated with non-affiliated to Leon Rose. The Knicks are not going to attract major stars or the proper stars and without bringing another fiasco unless we win. And you're worrying about these major free agents. They don't want to come. These guys, look, everybody watched The Last Dance or myself for Jordan or stuff. It's a dearth of players who want to come to the Knicks and rebuild it from the ground up. There are very few guys who want to build a kingdom by themselves. What they want to do is play with guys who are talented. They want to be surrounded by talent so it could be easier. So winning a championship is that much more attainable. And I'm talking about the stars, the superstars, whatever. We're not going to attract anybody without us winning. Instead of focusing on free agents, because you know what's going to happen? They're going to focus on the big free agents, right? And they're going to put out to the world, just like they're doing now, allegedly, hey, we want this superstar, or we want to get these superstars, blah, 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 right? We don't get that superstar. And to make up for it, you know what they do? They're going to sign some second-tier superstar or trade for some second-tier so-called star who individually, in an isolated situation, has good stats, but doesn't fit the team and will not elevate the team. That's what the Knicks have been doing for years, and it's like we do not learn our lesson now. We're trying to go the route of properly drafting. If you want to properly draft, you bring in the proper GM, the proper scouting team, the proper president. But we're going down the road of trying to again. We're saying, "Oh yeah, I clean myself up, man. I don't need no abusive man, right?" And you go right back out and you get another abusive man and put yourself in the same predicament that you were before. Versus, hey, let me start from the bottom. So the bad boy guy that might be attractive. Let me go for the right guys who are going to treat me right, and I can build with that person, build a family, blah, blah, blah. That's what we're just like these complaining chicks. Oh, yeah, but we've learned that this just doesn't work. This just doesn't work. So please, let's stop thinking that these superstar free agents are going to come here. They don't want to. The only one we so-called heard about was Donovan Mitchell. And that might be posturing to get a contract or whatever in the future, or get Gorbert removed. That's it. Come on, man. We got to learn. This free agent habit it doesn't work for us, bro. Build from the bottom up, man.
Okay. Now, I mean, I feel you. I really love building from the bottom up, and I know we have a lot of draft picks and all that kind of stuff. Save them for when when the time is really, really right. And I understand you collect draft picks so you can make a move. Right? Save them for when the time is right. That's how I feel about it. You know what I'm saying?
But somebody said we're not a build-up team. I'm sorry. When was the last time we won with these so-called superstars that's supposed to come to the Knicks? I just don't. This is the thing I don't understand with New York sports. People sit here and say, "Oh, New York fans are impatient." Blah blah blah. If New York fans were impatient, that would mean all the crappy New York teams would have literally zero fans because we would have moved on to some. New York fans are actually extremely loyal. We just want a winning product or something that's trending towards a winning product. You draft the proper way. You sign the right free agents when they're available, and you sign them if they fit the team and the team chemistry. You don't just put guys together because, hey, he averaged 17 and 10. Hey, that looks good on paper. It doesn't work for New York. New York is a place where both your mentality and your production and your chemistry, all three things have to match and mesh with the team, man. Like, we're not Indiana. We're not a place where guys can come and play without the media, whatever, without the spotlight, and provide you 16 and 10 and get you to the second round of the playoffs. We're not that type of team. Guys have to have the proper mentality. And we've seen, as we see with I'm not getting on Julius Randle too much, but we've seen that Julius Randle, yes, in isolation, he's a guy who's like, yeah, that might work. And it didn't. And you think that's going to work for some of these other – who wants to come to the Knicks and build from the ground up?
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
I feel you. We'll see what kind of impact Leon Rose has as we move forward. I do want to say this to the chat. We're going to continue this conversation, but I want to say one thing to the chat before I ask you to come on over to Sportscaster and continue the conversation on Sportscaster. The last time we were live, we brought up a scenario about the Knicks trading up to the first pick. And everybody in the YouTube chat said, we was bugging out, we was wilding, we was dreaming and all of this kind of stuff. Why would Golden State do that? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Right? You remember that, Guillermo?
Yeah, the one for moving up in a draft.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read something. I'm gonna show something to everybody. I'm gonna read something to everybody. Okay? I want you to check this out. It says, and you can go look it up for yourself. It's on NBC Sports. Speculation continues to percolate, indicating the Warriors are more than willing to move down in the 2020 draft, even if they're holding the number 1 overall pick. Why not? There are plenty of intriguing players not projected as high lottery picks. One such prospect is Villanova's Sadiq Bey, who is equipped with many of the 3-and-D attributes the Warriors need and want. Bey is well coached, has a high IQ at both ends, and during his sophomore season, played wiser than the typical 20-year-old. He shoots a sweet three, he can guard multiple positions well, and his work ethic affirms his hunger and squelches any questions about the love of the game. Okay? Now, everybody looked at us and they said, man, y'all tripping, y'all bugging. It's the Warriors not trying to move down out of that number 1 spot, da-da-da. And I'm not saying that this confirms it. But obviously, there's something out there in the water that says, hey, they might be willing to move down so that they can accumulate more assets. And if they are willing to move down so that they can accumulate assets, then yes, that opens up the door for a team like the Knicks, who could end up being in that 6th, 7th, or 8th spot, a place where the Warriors may not mind drafting Sadiq Bey or a player like Sadiq Bey. That's all I'm saying. Everybody, people say, oh, that's hogwash, y'all just da-da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? But before we get to that conversation, ladies and gentlemen, it's about time I bring this exclusively to Sportscaster. And I want to hear all you guys. I want to hear what you got to say. So come on over to Sportscaster. The link is in the description, and it's also right here in the video chat. Okay? And let me mute somebody out up here. It's also right here in the video chat. Okay, I'm putting the link in there so that you can come over to Sportscaster, because this show is a Sportscaster show, ladies and gentlemen. So I know there's some people like, man, why is he leaving? Why is he going to Sportscaster? Blah, 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 and all that good stuff. I get it. I understand. You know what I'm saying? I definitely understand, but still. Come over to Sportscaster and enjoy the rest of the show. Again, the link is in the description. All right? And I'm putting the link. I just spammed the YouTube chat. So you can come on over to Sportscaster and join us on Knicks Weekly the rest of the show, okay? We're going to continue talking about this situation with the draft pick. I know you want to talk about it, so come on over and talk about it. We're going to talk about the New York Knicks making a hire, and we're going to talk about Brock Aller and what he might mean to the front office. We're going to do some updates on RJ Barrett. We'll talk a little bit more about this Bernard King movie and some other stuff that has to do with the New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so I'm about to hit my transition to Sportscaster, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Please see me on Sportscaster, folks. All right. To my YouTube family, peace. Make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed, and hit that like button. And join me over here on Sportscaster. I'm out. We on the way here, Sportscaster. Give me 1 second. I'm making this transition, my friends. YouTube, join me on Sportscaster. Want to see you there right now, folks.